Hello and welcome to Vista Voices. I'm your host, Chris Vazano.
I'm Daniel Lago.
And I am one of your hosts, James Lynch.
And today we have a very special guest, a woman who has many hats at Vista, but her primary job is head of Canterbury Commons, a village that's part of Engage. Welcome, Kim.
Hello, Chris and Danny and James. How are you all?
Thank you.
Really well.
Good.
Very well.
Good.
How are you? So, my question for you, Kim, is why did you want to work at Vista in the first place, and what is your biggest takeaway, or what do you like best from working at Vista?
Well, first of all, let me just say how much I love Vista. And I have been at Vista Life Innovations for 2.5 years. And how I got to be at Vista was my boyfriend, Matt Riley, who has also been at Vista for now about 3.5 years. He would come home and he would have such joy on his face, and he would tell me so many stories about Vista and the people there. And I was like, one day I said, I need that joy. And he said, well, then apply for a job. So I did. At that point, I was working on my own. I have a brand called Love Your Mental Health, and I had a wellness studio. And I was in transition with that studio, and so I applied for a job. When I initially applied, I thought I was going to be applying for the life skills position, but they had a cafe instructor position open. And they asked me if I like to cook, and I said I like to cook for large groups because I throw parties, I live at the beach. And they said, would you like to cook for 13 or 14 people that live at Canterbury? And I said, you know what, let me try it out. Let me see how it goes. And I've never looked back. It has been one of the best jobs I've ever had. In addition to doing cafe instruction and managing the cafe, I also do life skills. I do a wellness workshop on Monday evenings, and I staff recreation activities. And then sometimes I even do some driving through the Student Support Center. So I've been able to really kind of feel my way through the organization and work in a variety of different places.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Daniel, do you have any questions? Daniel?
Yeah, I do. How long are you working for SSC?
Well, SSC, I probably jumped on there on that part of the organization just about 2 years ago. I knew that they needed assistance with some of the transportation, and so I said, you know what, I was working part-time, so I said, let me add in some shifts. So I now help to drive people around as well. So it really gives me an opportunity to see all the wonderful aspects of the organization, to meet the members, to meet the students, and even to get to know all of the staff in all the different departments. So that's what I really love about Vista, is the flexibility.
When you started first with Matt Riley?
Matt Riley, who introduced me to Vista, we have been together for 8.5 years. We met through friends. He had invited me to be his blind date at a gala for an organization called the Jordan Porco Foundation, which is a mental health awareness organization. We were both working in the mental health space at the same time, and so our friends thought, well, maybe they need to get together. And so we went on this blind date, and we've been together ever since.
That sounds wonderful, Kim. And my questions are, what is the best part of working at Canterbury?
So Canterbury Commons, which is located in Clinton, we have 13 to 14 residents that live there independently, all part of Vista, all Vista members. And what the beautiful thing about working there is we have a clubhouse that we come together and we eat together. I cook at Canterbury Clubhouse 3 nights a week, Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. Not only do we plan menus, I cook the food, everyone eats together as a community, and then after dinner we all play games, or we do crafts, or we've made vision boards. We've got some things coming up. We're going to do some Valentine's crafts are coming up. We've got a Super Bowl party coming up on Sunday. We also keep a Christmas tree up year round, and we decorate it for the holidays. So not only do we decorate it for Christmas, we also have a Hanukkah tree, but then we keep the tree up year round. And right now we have a Valentine's Day tree. In March, we're going to have a St. Patrick's Day tree. And all the members of Canterbury come in and help to decorate the clubhouse for the holidays. So we've really created a community there, a place where people feel safe, a place where there's gathering and love and laughter. And that's exactly what I wanted to create when I came to Canterbury, was a place that everyone felt comfortable coming and we could have a lot of fun together.
Yes, and speaking as from a resident of Canterbury, I can really attest to the communal and familial aspects of it.
Yeah, Chris, it was, and you've been with us for about, 6 months, 8 months now?
6 months.
6 months.
Yes.
And, the beautiful thing about Canterbury residents is they all welcomed in the new people that we've had that have come in the last year. And I think that that's what it's all about, right? That's what Vista is about, is finding a sense of belonging, finding your tribe. I don't know if you've heard that word before, but finding those people that you can really connect with. And that's why I think the cafes are so important. Not only do we have Canterbury Cafe within Vista, we also have Settlers Cafe. We have one at Settlers Landing and one at Settlers Place, and then we have Cafe Evolve. And it's really a great opportunity for people to come together, meet other people, have conversation, play games, and just enjoy each other. And I think that's one of the special things about Vista is there are so many opportunities for us to get to know each other, for members to get to know each other, for students to get to know each other. And cafe is just one of those examples.
And it's important to be happy too.
Right, and James, that's a big thing with me, right? I'm always about, especially in our wellness workshops, James has come to the wellness workshops that I lead on Monday, and I talk about positive mindset and being happy and sharing your joy and really kind of turning any kind of negative into a positive so we can all live fulfilling and happy lives together.
So when did you start at Vista?
I started in October of 2023. So I'm coming up on 2.5 years.
Wow.
And I intend this to be the place that I kind of finish out my career and even into retirement. I live in Old Saybrook. Vista is close. As many people know, we're up and down the shoreline. We're from Old Saybrook to Guilford. And this is just an opportunity where I just kind of hop on Route 1 and go wherever they need me. And that's the beauty about Vista, is that there's so much flexibility. And so I can really work in a lot of different departments. And we encourage people to apply for jobs at Vista. You can really fit it into your own schedule. You could work part-time, you could work per diem, or you could work full-time, whatever works for you.
Absolutely.
Yes. My last question for you is, what got you into cooking?
Chris, that's a good question. I've always loved having parties and cooking for groups of people. But honestly, Vista, because of this job, I have learned on the job. I've learned how to be a better cook. I've learned how to cook nutritious things, how to substitute more nutritious items for things that might be high in sodium or high in fat. I've learned how to modify meal choices for those that might not be able to eat cheese or might not be able to eat gluten. Mm-hmm. So I've really learned on the job by studying recipes, by looking at things online. I'm constantly printing out recipes, and actually even asking some of our members to share recipes with me that they want me to cook for them, that they want me to bring to them. And so that's as important, as me finding the recipes too. Like, what do they like? What do you like? So it's been a learning on the job, but the best job I've ever had in my life.
Yes. Well, we're starting to run out of time. Thank you for being on the show, Kim.
Thank you guys so much for having me. It was
Absolutely.
great.
And that's all the time we have for Vista Voices. Tune in for more episodes next week. Thank you.
Hello everybody, and welcome to Lynch's Monthly Sports Jam. This is your host, James Lynch, and today we are going to discover the Super Bowl. It is being hosted by the home of the San Francisco 49ers ever since during their first season there in 2014. And it will become the first Super Bowl there since the 2015 season. The date of that Super Bowl took place on February 7th, 2016, where the Carolina Panthers took on the Denver Broncos in a low-scoring game affair. Getting back to what goes on during the Super Bowl, as we know, the two teams face off for the Lombardi Trophy ever since being named after the Green Bay Packers coach Vince Lombardi. This came during his team's winning multiple NFL championships. When that big game became official by the third Super Bowl, after the media and the public came up with the large phrase as this event came in due to its popularity. Where that took place as a placeholder on purpose when introduced during those meetings for both conferences, but the Super Bowl term was named a half a decade earlier by some gentleman in the 1960s before moving forward from the popular 1960s children's toy being called a Super Ball. From Lamar Hunt, the Kansas City Chiefs, during a time when being named for taking over the AFL/NFL World Championship game by the fourth big game in the 1970 season. Now it came from his kids, which was the Super Ball they were playing with, becoming a big name along with the amazing things the object can do. First, by becoming initial name was by former commissioner at the time, Pete Rozelle, who some people say was considered too boring, especially coming from himself. Then there was the media coming into pickup during the preference down for a bigger tradition name in sports writings, using the word Super Bowl coming from the past sports writers, becoming known as this official game in 1967 from the sides of college football bowl games. Then quickly stayed for the two words becoming official after just 4 championship games. Even though those events were titled the AFL/NFL World Championship games, it grew faster to be known as Super Bowls 1 through 4 numbers, coming into play right after. During the 1970 season, which already became popular for college games, with it being the last championship games. Like the Rose Bowl and the Orange Bowl, Sugar Bowl is the definition used for college football games labeled for those college bowl sites coming from numbers 1 through 4. It is awesome for people who don't like football. They can still have a party and get together with friends and family for the day, while especially watching the halftime show along with the commercials. Seem to be talked with popularity and revenue. Thank you for joining me on Lynch's Monthly Sports Gem. Happy Super Bowl. We will see you next time.
Hello and welcome to Real Deal Reviews. I'm your host, Chris Vazano, and today I will be reviewing a frontrunner at the Academy Awards this year, known as Sinners. It's very challenging for me to write this review to say it's perfect when that is far from the truth when you compare this film to a picture like Weapons, which was masterful in terms of craftsmanship and screenwriting or originality. However, when it comes to pure entertainment value and a script filled with gallows humor and entertainment value and prophetic metaphors, this film excels and succeeds at being a movie that is a better vampire flick than a lot of others, including the 90s classic From Dusk Till Dawn. The story centers around two cousins named Smoke and Stack, played in dual roles by Michael B. Jordan, who are trying to escape the violence of Chicago and open a nightclub in 1930s Mississippi. They are successful at first, but then soon things start to go bump in the night. And this part of Sinners and everything afterwards is when the movie really shines. The cousins and their patrons who open the juke joints performances are incredible, mixing bouts of humor and suspense perfectly. The violence is visceral and satisfying and fits the tone of the movie nicely. What also surprised me was how effective Michael B. Jordan was at playing the two cousins and never taking you out of the immersion. While this movie is far from perfect, it's a great time and I give it an 8 out of 10. Thank you for watching.
Welcome to David's Dugout. Hi, I am David Reese, and I am going to talk about this week's sports highlights. This week in college basketball, UConn women's basketball team is still undefeated. Their record is 23-0. This week in NFL, New Orleans Saints will be playing in NFL's first regular season game in Paris during 2026 season. This week in NBA, Boston Celtics will be playing at home against Miami Heat on Friday night at 7:30 p.m. But my favorite game of the week is UConn women's basketball team winning at home against Tennessee on Sunday, February 1st. The score was 96-66. The game I am looking forward to next is Boston Bruins playing at for the Panthers tonight at 7 p.m. See you next time at the Dugout.
Hi, I'm your host, Dan Lager. This is Dennis Football Facts. Los Angeles Rams had a great season for 2025-2026. Right now, they're having to take a lot of breaks for the next season for NFL 2026 and 2027. Los Angeles Rams have news about the head coach at quarterback. Some others leave him up in the Los Angeles Rams depends on his decision. Sean McVay has multi-year extension contract for head coaching the Los Angeles Rams for several years in National Football League. In July 2026, the Los Angeles Rams will exercise for preseasons in 2026 and 2027 season. Check out more about Los Angeles Rams next time. See you later.
Hi, I'm Jack Calver, and welcome to the Math Corner. It's good to be back. This week I have a very interesting question that I'll answer. When would you use the RSA case, where you know the length of one side and the ratio and angle between the other two? Suppose you're on an island and you see two people drowning from afar. Cue the picture. You know which directions they're in, but not how far, since you don't know their sizes. You have a send and receive gun, which they were lucky enough to keep receptors for, but you can only use it twice. You use it on them to see how far they are, but you don't know the speed of the signal, only that it's consistent. As such, you calculate the ratio of the amounts of time it took to get the signal back, and that's the ratio of their distances. One of them kept a tape measure, and they measured and told you how far apart they are from each other. You have life preservers, but to save them, you must calculate how far apart from you each one is in order to throw the preservers the right distance. The solution involves the cosine rule, which we won't be able to use for a while. Rest assured that this solution is not ambiguous, though. Well, that's it for today's lesson. Please tune in next time because it's a good one. I'm going to show you a proof that the derivative of sine is cosine using only parametric definitions of the derivative and arc length, angle relativity, and the definition of a circle. I'm Jack Calver, and this has been the Math Corner.